is Tim. We're live.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for our regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask all of you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Start with our roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Elder.
Present.
Commissioner Jenks.
Present.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Present.
Commissioner Olsman is excused. Mayor Paul present. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Actually, I have one item that I need to add after public participation. I'd like to add a proclamation.
All right.
We have a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have 3 communications. Any comments on those? We have a motion to receive and file.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Elected officials. I'm not seeing any in the room. So we'll move on to public participation. This is an opportunity for the public to make a comment on something that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, I'll close public participation. And before we get on to the regular items of business, I'd like to read a proclamation that we have. We heard one of our annual attendees to the City Commission to update us on ongoings of our neighbor, the Detroit Zoo, is planning on retiring sometime soon, like maybe the end of June. So we would like to read a proclamation by the City of Huntington Woods in honor of Jerry Van Acker. Whereas Jerry Van Acker has served as the Chief Operating Officer of the Detroit Zoo since 2011, whereas Jerry Van Acker began his career in the hospitality industry, including 28 years with Marriott Hotels in the Midwest. He also owned and operated several locations in the Aubon Pang bakeries, whereas Jerry's expertise in the hospitality industry was a vital component in helping the Detroit Zoo to achieve the rank that it now has as one of the leading zoological parks in America. Whereas during his tenure with the zoo, Jerry helped lead the zoo's environmental sustainability efforts. During this time, the zoo eliminated the sale of bottled water, committed to the utilization of a fleet of all-electric vehicles, eliminated the use of plastic bags in shops, and also planted 1,000 trees on the zoo campus and in the communities throughout Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. Whereas Jerry Van Acker was also instrumental in supporting the establishment of a farm-to-table dining concept at the zoo, which serves locally sourced meats and vegetables from nearby Michigan farms. And whereas Jerry has at all times sought to maintain a good partnership with the City of Huntington Woods, balancing the needs of the zoo to provide high-quality programming and events for its patrons with the rights of residents living nearby. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of Huntington Woods City Commission hereby expresses its full appreciation to Jerry Van Acker for his skill, knowledge, and impactful leadership. In witness wherefore, I hereunto set my hand on this 19th day of April, 2022, and cause the seal of the City of Huntington Woods to herein affixed. Jerry, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Really appreciate that. Very generous, thank you. Thanks to everyone. You guys have
Thank
been
you.
wonderful
For being a
partners
great neighbor.
too. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, first item of business is hearing from the Detroit Zoo on your summer programming presentation. We have Paul Good and Jerry Van Acker here with us this evening.
Yeah, we're not sure how we'll hand this off back and forth, but we'll have to. I have slides, yes. I am returning on a part-time basis with the zoo to work with Haley Murphy, the new CEO. I'm not sure of my tenure this time around, but I was a victim of COVID. And while we want to talk about where we're going, I think it helps to think a little bit about where we've been. These highlights are from a presentation that Haley Murphy gave to our board. And it does a pretty good job of summarizing. I'm not going to read them all back to you, but I lost my employment status in the zoo on, I think it was the 12th of March, 2020. And I was one of the 100 people that were cut or furloughed at that point in time. Those that remained were mostly essential staff, and most of those folks worked directly with the animals, i.e. the essential aspect of the zoo. From there, a lot of very negative things happened. We basically closed down a lot of our activities. One of the pillars of what we were building was our education staff, and at one point we had 25 educators working mostly in face-to-face activities with children of different ages from across the 3 counties. That went down to 5 people, and all face-to-face contact in education ended. And we got to put some emphasis on an area we always thought we wanted to do, which was virtual education. And as a result, we now have some capacity that we never had before, which is a good thing. But we lost that personal back and forth. All the public events were canceled from March 2020 through June of 2021. And our volunteer status, or our core of volunteers, which was about 1,100 people, shrunk almost overnight. Pulled a plug on our events and activities at the zoo. Jerry put this one in, the Wild Lights held in November 20 to January 17. This is of last year. We did bounce back to 160,000 people, which probably was the high water mark coming, we hope, out of COVID. All the capacity, and we had capacity limits on attendance, and those capacity limits have now, those restrictions are now gone, and we're essentially open for business. I don't have the numbers here, but our budget went from about 44 million, 42 million down, very low. Maybe Jerry knows the number. 25, it's a big drop. The current operating budget is, I think, targeted at 40 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we were doing, 2016, we did almost 1.7 million in attendance. And that dropped down to about 500,000 in 20. Last year we did 990,000. And we'll probably do 1.3 million this year, so.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Picking back up. Yep.
Yeah.
We last weekend, we had 7,000 on Good Friday and 7,000 on Saturday. So hopefully the weather warms up and we get some more,
Yeah,
more people.
as we always say, as things pick up like this, people are pent up and looking for things to do, and the zoo is obviously something on a lot of folks' lists, so that's good for us. Very quickly then, and again, this all happened while I wasn't at the zoo, so I'll have to defer to Jerry for any questions you may have. But here's a quick summary of significant births anyways at the zoo. The lion cub is very significant, and another chimp, and that's a cool thing. And of course, we had polar bear cubs. And there's nothing quite like having baby mammals to draw people to a zoo. And they have dominated a lot of our lives since they were born. Again, we do a lot of rescue work. I think you know that in terms of animal rescues. And in one case, we actually rescued a grizzly bear cub, and of course, we put it with one of the polar bear cubs. They're no longer together, right? Is that right?
No, the grizzly got too big.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of an overmatch there, ultimately. But again, you know, tigers and giraffes and penguins and lots of other things. The southern cassowary is up in the right-hand corner. That's the bird, the blue bird. At least I know that much. And below it is the sandhill crane. Very quickly for 2022, we have been in a campaign. I guess it's really the quiet period at this point. This is a, what, $30 million?
$30 million campaign. We've raised almost half of it now, so we're doing pretty well with that. Good portion of it goes to the new Kid Zone habitat, or the Kid Zone area that we're working on. That does all reside in Huntington Woods, so
Yep.
when we get our construction documents together, we'll approach you for permits and things
Yeah,
like
right.
that. Yeah.
Also a significant piece to that is a roughly $3 million improvements at the Belle Isle Nature Center on Belle Isle. One of the big things back, what was it, March of this year, we reopened the Polk Penguin Conservation Center after some renovations that were done there. That third bullet's a little inside baseball, but essentially we have a mandate to put 3% of our operating budget towards conservation, which is a piece of, I guess, philosophy that's shared by AZA accredited zoos. Not all zoos hit that 3% mark. I'm not sure we have in the past.
We have, yep.
But clearly we intend to this year, which is a significant piece of who we are and our pillars of what we stand for in running the Detroit Zoological Society. The Great Ape Heart Project is a particular important piece vis-a-vis our new CEO, Haley Murphy. She created this effort out of Zoo Atlanta, and I believe it's an international program at this time. It clearly was a national program. And essentially, great apes are like people, as you know, and they have the same kind of cardiac issues. And lo and behold, the same kind of medications that work for humans work to help the great apes. The trick is detection early. And this program is all about annual, I want to say physicals, but it's more than that. And Jerry just observed one.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, the advisor for the project is a cardiologist out of Beaumont. So even though it's an international project, the cardiologist out of Beaumont is the advisor, medical advisor on the project. And he's gone to all their meetings all around the country and gone to Africa with them and things like that. So it's kind of a local connection piece that's kind of interesting.
The last bullet is simply that Dinosaura is returning to the zoo in 2022. We'll come back to that. I got a couple of slides particularly laid out for that.
Jeff liked it.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. A quick word on Kid Zone. We've been working on Kid Zone conceptually and through designs for a long time, and COVID really knocked that back because of the obvious in terms of participation and money and all that stuff. But we have a pretty good concept now. I don't know if we have actual plans, Jerry. Are we at that point?
It's still conceptual.
Okay.
We're just starting to work on construction docks, so.
But long and the short of it is we're going to take 7 acres, devote it to a kids zone. Right now we have, I don't know, what, a half acre?
Yeah, maybe.
And there'll be activity areas, petting areas. This is a fun and family kind of concept we have. It's going to be in the middle of the park, right where the members' entrance is, just a little bit to the west, but on the south end of the park. And maybe it's a little reprise. If you're halfway through your visit to the zoo, you need a break, you can come there and your kids can play. I understand there's a water feature that'll be there too.
It'll be water feature, climbing structures. It'll go all the way from where Buddy's is now, all the way west to the barnyard. So it's really a nice space. We're gonna have bush dogs, prairie dogs in there. The barnyard will be a petting yard.
I'm sorry about this slide.
Yeah,
Some of that's marked.
Anteaters, a concessions area. There'll be a pavilion, so we can have birthday parties and things like that in there. The tree house and the tree trail is really neat. It'll all be natural structures and very large. The one thing that'll be very unique about that is the tree trail is totally accessible. So wheelchair or kids that aren't mobile will be able to use it. Yeah, so we've got a really good plan for that, and like I said, when we get our drawings together, we'll come visit,
Yeah.
come see it.
This is a real quick summary of the zoo events. The zoo sponsored, and staff carried out events coming up. And this is kind of a standard list. I think the thing that struck me is that there's more adult 21 and over activities, starting with the Zoo Boo in May. Summer Sips in July is another one of those events. There's a couple more. The last one here is Polar Beers in December. They're in Spooky Spirits in October. That has been kind of a new area for us. It seems like it was new. For me it was, because we haven't been here for 2 years. But bringing an over 21 adult crowd after hours to the zoo was something that I guess we learned from other zoo experiences, and it works, and it's kind of fun for us, and it's definitely a response that when we put out tickets for available online, we're sold out in literally hours, because we put a cap on attendance, so we know they're popular out there. So a longer version of this is something I've given Chris. I don't know if it hit you have this, yes?
I don't know.
I think you do. I think
Okay, I'll say yes.
I will double check my files and make sure you get another copy just in case.
Okay, thank you.
This is something you guys can post to the residents on your website and keep them informed. Now there are private events, and I don't have a full list of those because they're still coming in. Most of them are walks. They're typically on the weekend. They usually start at 6 a.m. We almost always get some reaction from the community on this, and we're, I think, tougher than we've ever been on our contract writing with these folks.
I
And
don't
this,
think they can start till 7.
was it 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about the 6.
Per the code.
Oh, yeah, the code. And then Dinosauria. This is something we want to spend a little time on because we're really close to the delivery and the uploading of the dinosaurs. It's another kind of full complement. There's, I don't know, 38 or 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
We have been using the area there right where Ludlow and Huntington Woods kind of merge by little east of Tigers. And that has been worked on for some time now, several months, several weeks. The installation is going to start in early May, and we have an opening date of May 28th. So it's imminent, and within a week or two, you're going to see the activity will be more visible. You'll get more reaction from your residents, so you will be able, hopefully, to point them in the right direction for further information, and this may help your responses to some of the members who are residents that come and ask questions about that. But yes, it is coming.
You had the opening date, do you know when it ends?
I do. It is September
10?
10th, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm
Right after
sorry.
Labor Day, Joe.
Yeah, it's right after Labor Day.
The trail is a bit different this year because, and then northern would be the top of the street. To the left there is where we expanded the tiger habitat. So it used to go along there for probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 feet. But it won't anymore, it just comes to kind of a point there. So we think that the noise and the effect on the neighborhood would be a lot less this year. Next street.
And I just threw in a couple of these because I thought they were kind of neat. This is the kind of stuff that'll be added around the exhibit area. Trying to keep it in character.
We will be, though, installing the deadening mats that we used in
Yep.
18, and those seem to help quite a bit. The dinos are facing into the exhibit space along the Huntington Woods Road there. The subwoofers are not being used this year, and we were able to adjust all the sounds or the audio piece that's coming out of the dinos, so if there is an issue, we should be able to adjust those. I talked about the Huntington Road, the length being shorter, and we are working with Dieter, as we did in 18, to make sure that the sound isn't bothersome to the neighborhood.
The subwoofer thing is really significant because that's what carries the deep bass, the penetrating thumping, if you will, of the footsteps of T-Rex or whatever. That's the noise that can't be dampened by the mats themselves. So by cutting that out, that should take hopefully a whole category of noise out of the system. And simple things like facing the dinos inward, southward, make a huge difference in terms of the penetration of the sound. So in a sense, what we're trying to do is start where we left off in 2018 with what we learned through that exercise. And by placing the dinos in a different fashion, minimizing the exposure at the north end, cutting out the deep bass noises from the subwoofers, and then have the ability to control volume individually among the multiple dinos we have there should help us manage this much better. And that's all I have.
We can open it up for questions.
Yeah.
Comments? Jeff? Yeah.
Paul, what are the hours that the dinos will be active? Talking.
9:30 to 5.
Oh, that's good. They'll be
Yeah.
work hours, all right.
Yeah.
There will be a handful of special events that'll go to maybe 7 or 8, but handful.
Sounds good. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to say, as a family, we've enjoyed the zoo for almost over a decade now and have grown up. Our children have grown up with the zoo, with Bunnyville, and the Halloween events, Dinosauria and all these, and it's been such a nice experience, and appreciate the thoughtfulness you went through to adjust, Dinosauria this year. I'm still hearing once in a while from my neighbors that live along Huntington, more so about the night events. Can you tell me, because I saw a number of them, how late do they go to?
Typically, only until 8:30 or 9. Now,
Okay.
having said that, like the sunset at the zoo
Yeah.
will go till 10. The zoo brew goes till 10. But I don't think anything later than that.
Okay, and I think it's more about the noise level of maybe
Yeah.
the music.
Yep.
And so what would you advise me to assist my neighbors with, when they're being disrupted at that time?
Have them call us.
Okay,
And, we do have park safety that measures along the fence when we have events, and they record that to make sure we're within the decibel readings that is allowed by the city. What the sound engineers tell us, Michelle, is that once someone is fixated on something bothering them, even though the decibel limit may be within the range, it's just bothering them. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get people unfixated off that once it's a bothersome noise to them.
so I'll get the list from Chris.
Yeah.
So we can, be
Yep.
prepared.
Yeah, but we do have a direct line to park safety, so
Yeah.
we can share that.
And
And they're there, so
Yes.
if they
Right.
call, they'll answer and have them adjusted or figure out where the problems are.
we have that information can be relayed if it's, piped in music or electronic stuff that we control, we can back that.
Okay, so that can be real-time
But,
feedback.
but we're still within the range of your ordinance.
Yeah.
And that is kind of ongoing monitoring by folks who are out there
Okay,
all the time. It's not Jerry and I coming out every 2 hours and taking the reading. It's the park safety staff that are walking around. And with the sound engineer, we get this thing first rolling in terms of our kind of public opening kind of thing. And in the first couple of weeks, he's going to be around a lot, trying to advise us on how to keep this within balance.
okay, thank you.
I moved into Huntington Woods in 1975, and for some odd reason, the zoo was there first. And I've appreciated when we've complained and things like that you've actually taken the area where events and programs were much closer to the Huntington Road fence, and you've moved that area. It really is back. So I appreciate what you do. Sometimes we won't be perfect, especially usually on July 4th. And you are not always perfect, but I mean, I love the lights. I work with the Children's Miracle Network, so I'm able to give the awards to the little kids that walk and things like that.
Yeah, good for you.
And we will continue to live together.
I will let you know, our balance sheet's stronger than it's ever been,
Thank God.
so you don't have to worry. We've been really well managed. We have, and this is all 990 information, so it's available, but over 80 million on our balance sheet now. It's almost double the last 8-9 years, so we've got good financial backing and good community backing, and the new CEO, who I hope you all will meet shortly, is just wonderful. And she's very, very highly regarded in our field, and I think she's going to do a super job, so.
Before COVID, were you the largest visited facility in Michigan?
Yes, largest cultural attraction, yeah.
But
besides
with over 1 million visitors,
1.7 million.
oh, that's all.
Peak, yeah. Except for the stadiums, I think the stadiums do a little bit more. Yeah. I did, I don't know if you're allowed to take tickets, but I have some tickets. Is that allowable? I guess I'll look at the city attorney.
Could we give it something else? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with them being
We
donated
could,
to
we
the
could
city.
drop it in
Then
the hallway.
it's being used, yeah, that might be a nice
Is this
way
for the
to
dinosaur?
do it, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I got packets, and there's 2 for dinosaurs and 2 for the entrance, and we can, if we can donate them to the city and you could distribute as you see appropriate.
I think that would be a
We can
perfectly
get-
fine
I think
idea.
it's better to
Yeah,
be
better than
donated.
to the individual members, since you could have business in front of the
Yeah.
board. Yeah.
For the underserved.
There you
Those
go.
people that don't draw a paycheck, maybe. But we really appreciate our neighbor relations and want to keep it that way, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
It's good to hear everything's getting back to normal.
We
Yeah.
hope so. And one last comment, we've been saying we're gonna do this on an annual basis up front in the spring for I don't know how long. And usually we get caught in the middle of the summer coming here to respond to concerns of the community. And I hope we continue to do this. This is a whole lot easier for us to be proactive, starting dialogue in the beginning of that.
Paul,
What
you can
will be a
come back-
busy year.
You can come back more frequently to tell us what's going on. I mean, the events and things.
Yeah.
We have, 6 months from now, we'll be
That's what I
planning
mean.
for next year, so, yeah.
The water tower's getting redone as we speak too, so if you noticed, it's kind of in rough shape, so we're working on that now. And we are working on a new logo and branding campaign, so get some good, fresh look for our marketing materials. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for the proclamation.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right, our second item of business is a matter of receiving the city budget for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th of 2023. Prior to tonight's commission meeting, we had a budget presentation and study meeting, so Tim has gone through a brief overview of the entire budget. And, well, first of all, do we have a motion to receive the budget?
So move.
Second.
Any public comment? Any comments from the commission? I'm going to start by thanking Tim and the finance department for all the work and all the staff throughout the entire city that went into preparing this document. There's a lot of detailed information there, and we've only had it in our hands for a few days, so I haven't read the whole thing yet, but we'll get through it. Next month, hopefully we'll approve it. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is setting a public hearing date for the proposed 2022-23 city budget. Help me out on that date is May 17th, which Tim's on vacation that week, I noticed in the calendar, so.
I'll still be here though.
So do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any public comment? Comments or questions from the commission?
Yes,
All those-
just one comment. Thank you for putting a 2-year budget together.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is a matter of consideration of approving and authorizing the city manager to execute contract amendment number 1 to the 2022 road improvement program for work on Hereford and Dundee in the amount not to exceed $600,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Chris, do you want to make any comments on why these roads we're adding, or?
I think as I stated in the contract, in the, gave you the sections of road we're gonna be working on. We picked Hereford and Dundee specifically because there were some additional funds available. The city of Royal Oak is also gonna be working on their portions of those roads, which are the concrete sections on their side, so, and our portions were in particularly poor shape. I know not the only sections in the city that are in poor shape, but with the work gonna be done in Royal Oak, we're trying to minimize the impact on residents. And, but when they get their concrete done, our asphalt is gonna look even worse. So we're trying to incorporate that, into the project for this year to be efficient. And, we are looking at, many other sections to be doing in the current year, but I thought that was most advantageous. I don't have the final cost estimates yet, that's why I know it's all awkwardly worded. But I think the not to exceed 600,000 will cover this. We're not looking to do water main work at this time. This is just simply a road reconstruction for our 2 sections of those roads. So, I gave you just a resolution, and I would ask for council's approval at this time. Thank you.
Any public comment? Comments or questions from the commission?
Yeah, so Chris and I talked before this meeting too, but I think some of the ratings on the roads, like the conditions of the roads, were done prior to winter. And some sections of the cities have just quickly deteriorated with the salting and all that. So there's a couple of sections that I've asked Chris to just, go out and take a look at and see. There's one section specifically on Hendry heading into the city, and it being the front-facing road of kind of the gateway into our city. It's pretty much kind of like the crater of the moon at this point, and Public Works did go out and fill in the potholes, which helped tremendously. But, for this year, I would request that you do assess some of these problematic areas and appreciate you taking that input.
Yes, thank you, we'll do that.
Will SEMCOG help us with the PACER ratings?
We have a baseline pacer that we did, was that 3 years ago?
2 or 3 years, yeah.
You wanna do it every, 5 years, but, Michelle's correct. Every winter, these things they do change a lot, and the roads never get better. They only get worse. So, this is the time to go back and reevaluate, and, we've got, even from the pacer ratings we had from a few years ago, we've got a significant number of, frankly, what we're working through this year was all the ones that rated on a 2. We're knocking out all of those, and we're focusing on the old ones that were a 3, but yeah, there's probably some that have slipped from 3 to even 2, this year, and below 2, you can't really get to, unless you take them back to gravel, so, we are going aggressively. I think you saw in the budget, the amount of money that we're putting into the roads this year. The community's been supportive of that, and the need's there. Definitely driving around, the need is there, but we do reevaluate that. We probably wouldn't do a full PACER analysis for a couple of years, but that is those PACER documents, they're living documents. They're meant to be updated on an annual basis, and this is frankly the time of year to do that. Well, per the calendar, the winter has ended. Doesn't seem to be working that way, but this is the time of year to do that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Final item of business is a matter of considering the approval of the MDOT annual permit for work on state trunk line right-of-way. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Paul. Just very briefly, again, thanks to the staff, in particular, Tim and Ethan, for their work on the budget for this year. Ethan has been around doing this, so thank you for Ethan for staying for the meeting tonight and for procuring sustenance for us to be able to make it through this long night. So, thank you for that as well. We'll talk a little bit about, I know even before I got here, we were working on a solar ordinance. I'll be working with the Environmental Sustainability Committee later this week. I think we've come to a resolution that I hope will be acceptable to the commission. I know the sticking point had really been this area, this issue of the front-facing solar issues. I think what we've been able to modify that language, and I think the board will be agreeable to, we'll talk about it Thursday night, would be an ordinance that will allow by right rear and side yards, which you basically have in the current ordinance. We can streamline the process by eliminating some of the site plan review processes and make those by right, but still require, if you do need something that faces the front, that we still would require a visit to the ZBA. So we had that discussion last month at their meeting. I think the board's agreeable to that. I'm refashioning some language. There are other good things that I think were done in that ordinance as far as changing, definitions and making some term changes that are good. And as that is a field that changes a lot, we'll probably need to stay on top of that. But I think that was I hope a good compromise, agreeable to all sides. There was some, it was a good discussion, and I think they're agreeable to that. I think it'll achieve what they want to do to encourage people and eliminate some of the difficulties, but still retain some control of the city, and particularly with the front-facing, require homeowners, if they want to do that, they gotta go before the ZBA and show, meet the practical difficulty standards for a use variance for that. So I think it covers all the bases and hopefully encourages people who find this practical and want to go forward with this to be able to do it within the city. So I look forward to hopefully getting their approval for that and bringing it back for the commission for your review and consideration soon. A lot of work from the Anti-Racism Committee recently on the Juneteenth event. We do have that scheduled for Saturday, June the 18th in the afternoon. Looking at roughly from the hours of 2 to 6. Got a lot of good feedback from parent groups from Berkeley schools. The library is really taking a lead on that with some of their summer reading programs. Also put together a collection of literature that we'll be able to give out to children. So I think we're looking for a very positive event, and that's a work in progress, but I think the corners of that are coming together well, and I look forward to updating the commission on that in the future and having a positive and successful event for that this year. That's all that I have. Be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Just thank you on the solar panels. It basically sounds like you've gone back to where the environmental committee had recommended a number of years ago, but also taken into concerned commission concerns.
That was the aim, so I hope we've done that.
Yeah, Chris, I appreciate how much time and effort you've taken to really deep dive into these committees and issues in your first few months, and especially Juneteenth is such a, I think, positive opportunity for the city together with the education community and engaging with the Berkeley African American Parents Network and Burton Elementary, and it's a huge undertaking. I've been really impressed with the whole committee and that group, and appreciate you rolling up your sleeves and working so closely with them.
Well, I was told there'd be food trucks, so I was on board. It's going to be a good event. We're looking forward to it.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
One question of the city manager, if I might.
Sorry, no. Not from the public.
Say that again?
Not from the public at this time.
Why not?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Do we have a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I see.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Question would have been about the